The Earth is nearly covered in water, and while it's vital for life on the planet, water is a powerful and destructive force of nature that is incredibly dangerous for humans. But it's not just the possibility of drowning that makes the water dangerous. There are other incredibly bizarre phenomena happening in the water around the globe. From strange cross-sea behavior to riptides that can pull a person out to sea in seconds. Check out these mysterious water phenomena. 10. Rogue wave. A rogue wave, also known as an extreme wave or a freak wave, is an unusually large, sudden, and unexpected surface wave that crashes with tremendous force. Rogue waves can range in height from 20 feet to even 100 feet, and their force poses an extreme danger to ships of all sizes, even ocean liners. There seems to be no one specific cause for rogue waves, but conditions such as high winds and strong current cause waves to merge together to create a single exceptionally large wave. Modern science's attempts to predict rogue waves have been futile. Serious study of the rogue wave phenomenon began only about 20 to 30 years ago, and research has intensified in the last 10 years. One of the features of the rogue wave that make it so difficult to study is that they always appear out of nowhere and disappear almost immediately without a trace. Rogue waves were at one time considered mythical, like sea serpents or mermaids. In the 1800s, a French naval officer was publicly ridiculed for reporting seeing a 100-foot wave. At that time, though, very few people had seen a rogue wave, and even if they had, they were probably not returning from the sea to tell about it. 9. Whirlpool. A whirlpool is a body of swirling water that forms when two opposing currents meet. Whirlpools can happen wherever water is flowing, in creeks, streams, rivers, the ocean, and even your sink or bathtub. A whirlpool with a powerful downdraft is called a vortex, and it's capable of sucking objects into it and beneath the surface of the water. But despite folklore, there have been no reports in history of large ships disappearing into a vortex. Small boats and swimmers, however, are a different story. A powerful swirling whirlpool in the ocean is called a maelstrom. There are several notable maelstroms in the oceans of the world. The Saltstraumen is the largest and strongest, located in the Arctic Circle, near Norway. It forms 4 times a day, and when ships pass through the area, they must time it perfectly to go through when the maelstrom is not active. The second most powerful is the Moskstraumen, also located near Norway. This one was made famous by writers Jules Verne and Edgar Allan Poe, who told tall tales of its destructive power. The third most powerful is also the noisiest. The Corrie Vrecken whirlpool is off the coast of Scotland. Another noisy whirlpool is said to make the sound of a pig. Hence the name, the Old Sow Whirlpool, off the coast of New Brunswick, Canada. 8. Cross sea. If you ever see a square pattern in the ocean, this is a phenomenon called cross sea. It's a rare sight that's caused by waves colliding from different angles, forming squares on the surface of the water. It happens when one weather system's waves form in one direction, while the wind from another weather system creates waves in a different direction. The waves run at an angle from each other, creating what looks like a grid pattern on the water. Cross sea is visible in the ocean and lakes, but is more commonly seen in shallow beaches. The cross currents look harmless and even quite beautiful, but can be extremely dangerous for boats, surfers, and swimmers, no matter where they may occur. 7. Tides of Mont Saint-Michel. Mont Saint-Michel is an 11th century abbey located off the coast of France, near the English Channel, built on a rocky island. The UNESCO World Heritage Site is exposed to some of the most powerful tides in the world. When it's low tide, the abbey is surrounded by miles of muddy and sandy beaches. But large tidal variations along the English Channel are exaggerated by the shape of the bay. So when high tide rolls in, it rolls in fast and furious. At high tide, Mont Saint-Michel is an island. An estimated 2 million tourists a year visit Mont Saint-Michel, and a walk across the sandy beaches is not permitted unless you're accompanied by a certified guide. Despite warnings, Many people try to walk across the land and have lost their lives because they underestimate the strength and danger of the incoming and outgoing tide. 6. Red tide. As water flows from land to coastal waters, it becomes contaminated along the way with various substances, including sewage, hazardous spills, and chemicals. But also, nutrients can contaminate water too, from fertilizer, excrement, and rich soil from forests. Nutrients promote the growth of the ocean's natural microscopic algae. But when the algae are supplied with these nutrients in excess, they multiply uncontrollably, creating a large mass of growing algae. The algae are so thick that it's visible in red or brown colors, known as red tide. The red tide smothers nearby ocean life and will give off a nasty smell that deters beachgoers. Particularly bad red tide causes beach closures, and any swimmer who dared to brave the algae-infested waters would risk his health from exposure to the toxins created by the algae. Red tides are seasonal and often peak in the late summer when oceans are warmest, the best condition for algae growth. Off the coast of Florida, the red tides have been known to last up to 18 months at a time. Red tide has been occurring since the 1500s and was reported by Spanish explorers. But recent studies suggest that climate change and nutrient pollution are causing more frequent and longer-lasting red tides. 5. Tornadic waterspout. Tornadic waterspouts are whirling columns of air and mist that form over oceans and lakes in warm seasons. They're called tornadoes over the water for good reason. They form under the same severe weather conditions as regular tornadoes, with high winds, large hail, and lightning. They can also travel from water to land and back, leaving a trail of destruction in their wakes. The Florida Keys report more waterspout activity than any other location in the entire world. 4. Bermuda Triangle. More than 50 ships and 20 airplanes have mysteriously disappeared in the area of the Atlantic Ocean known as the Bermuda Triangle. The area is a vague triangle shape marked by the Florida Panhandle, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Multiple unexplained disappearances have been reported since the mid-1800s. Aircraft have vanished, ships were abandoned, rescue missions never returned, and no wreckage is ever found. Although supernatural causes are often blamed, the more likely responsible factors are geophysical and environmental. The Bermuda Triangle is one of a few places on Earth where a compass points true north rather than magnetic north. If navigators fail to compensate for the variation, the result could be catastrophic. Another theory is that the Bermuda Triangle is located in an area of the Atlantic Ocean where storms from multiple directions converge, making rogue waves a viable explanation for so many disappearances. The massive waves can be powerful enough to destroy evidence of ships or a downed aircraft. 3. Meteotsunami. A meteotsunami is a tidal wave that occurs not as a result of seismic activity or an earthquake, like a tsunami, but rather from atmospheric conditions. Meteotsunamis are generally smaller than tsunamis caused by earthquakes. When conditions are right, such as severe thunderstorms, squalls, or other storm fronts caused by unstable atmospheric pressure activity, a meteotsunami can occur in any type of body of water. As a storm that generates the wave moves towards the shore, the wave grows larger and larger as the continental shelf becomes more shallow. Then, as the wave approaches the shore of a coast, the meteotsunami forms. The meteotsunami has been reported in many places around the world, including the Great Lakes, Gulf of Mexico, Atlantic Ocean coast, and the Mediterranean and Adriatic seas. Identifying one of these waves is a challenge because its characteristics are almost identical to a seismic tsunami, making it difficult to predict them and warn the public of potential disaster. 2. Riptide. Rip currents, or riptide, are the cause of more than 80% of rescues performed by beach lifeguards. They are powerful, narrow channels of fast-moving water running perpendicular to the shoreline. Sometimes the currents are so wide and powerful, they're visible as a different color channel within the water, almost like a river running through the ocean. The currents can reach speeds of up to 8 feet per second, making them very dangerous for swimmers. Sometimes the riptides are small and manageable. If you've ever been waist-deep in an ocean, you can feel the riptide pulling you to the side. Usually they're small, and a normal riptide would allow you to step aside to move out of it so it doesn't knock you down. But sometimes riptides are extremely powerful, and they can pull you under and out to sea. It's estimated that about 100 per year people drown by riptides. The number one rule of riptide survival is, don't panic. If you expend your energy fighting it, the tide will surely pull you under as you exhaust yourself. If you relax and don't fight it, but instead move parallel to the shore, you will eventually swim out of the riptide, and you can safely swim back to shore. 1. Tsunami. A tsunami is one of the most dangerous, powerful, and deadliest forces of nature. A tsunami is a wave or series of waves caused by earthquakes or other underwater volcanic activity. Once it forms, the tsunami may appear less than a foot above the ocean surface, barely noticeable. But as the waves travel inland, they build up higher and higher as the ocean floor depth lessens. The powerful pulse of wave energy picks up speed as it travels, reaching up to 100 miles per hour. Once that incredible force reaches shallow coastal water, it slows down, but the surface of the water, the crest of the wave, continues to move at a fast pace, causing the sea to rise, and an incredible wall of water is created. The deadliest tsunami on record happened in 2004. A 9.1 magnitude earthquake, one of the largest ever recorded, rocked a fault line under the Indian Ocean. The massive 100-foot wall of water slammed into coastal Sumatra a mere 20 minutes later, wiping out 240,000 lives in a matter of hours. But that wasn't the extent of it. 90 minutes later, a 500-mile-an-hour wave headed toward Thailand. Despite reports of the disaster, locals and beachgoers were still caught by surprise. Some ventured out to the beach, curious about the oddly receding waves, but were met with a giant tidal wave that wiped out another 5,400 lives, 2,000 of whom were tourists. 8 hours later, rogue waves appeared off the coast of South Africa, 5,000 miles from the earthquake's epicenter, causing even more destruction. This was the most extreme on record, beating 1960's 8.6 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Chile, which roiled the Pacific and leveled the city of Hilo, Hawaii. Well, even though these water dangers are very real and can be scary, we hope you enjoyed learning about them. Let us know which one you think is the most impressive. Or let us know if you've ever encountered any of these dangerous water phenomena for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, click the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.